Have you ever thought what you would have done in a situation if you were held at gunpoint, if it was life-threatening? Well, today we are going to talk about practical tips, self-awareness that you can apply so that if, God forbid, that situation should happen, you know what to do. Right up next.
This episode of Money and Medicine is proudly sponsored by the PPS Health Professions Indemnity. For more information on PPS, please do go on our website.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. Maybe just for our listeners, a brief introduction about you guys. Where did you start? How did you meet? How did you get into self-defense, MMA, etc.?
That's me first. I've been doing martial arts for over 30 years. So I started when I was 12 years old. And I think I've done many aspects of the martial arts: karate, judo, tai chi, weapons training, no weapons training, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I think out of all of them, I love the BJJ the most.
Is it?
And then I met Jacqui, and she started training with me probably 20 years ago.
Wow. So you guys met at the gym?
No, we met before the gym.
Okay.
But she obviously got into the training.
Did you invite her to the gym?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, he was training about 6 or 7 hours a day. So it was like, do I join him or just never see him? So I got into the training just through that, yeah. Best thing ever.
All right. So Rod, why BJJ? Why do you like that the most?
You know, from training all the arts I did, without sounding amazing, I had different levels in different arts. And then I went to go do a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class. And I had probably 4 or 5 different black belts in other arts. And I grappled against the white belt guy, as you know, the feeling. And within 2-3 minutes, this guy was killing me. And I thought, no, this can't be. I mean, I've got all this experience. It can't be this way. So I thought it's something I have to focus on more. Okay. And I just realized that because it's under pressure, there's resistance. It's an amazing thing to experience.
Okay. How did you guys get into self-defense? What led to that as a 12-year-old? Was it something that you aspired to? Was it like pressure from your parents maybe? Was it something that you just saw and you thought like, I want this skill? How did you guys get into it?
It was the opposite from my parents.
Is it? Okay.
I always begged them to take me to training. They said, no, it's dangerous.
Okay.
So I think it was just inside of me. It's something I always wanted to do. So if I was allowed to, I probably would have started training at 4 years old. But at 12 years old, I think 12 years later, after begging my parents, they eventually let me do one class. Yeah, like just get out of my hair and go do it and stop irritating me. And then haven't looked back since. And I don't think I've skipped a day's training since 12.
So, Jacqui, my understanding is you used to be in jiu-jitsu. Rodney says you're a 2-time SA champ. But these days you a mother, full-time mother, and you're into fitness.
Yes.
Do you enjoy that?
Okay. And let me first correct the 2-time SA champ thing. It's a joke between the two of us because we did it once before. And the one time I won it, I was the only competitor. And the other one was more fair and square. But we joke because he's the instructor, but I hold it twice. Okay. So it's not a genuine thing. It's a joke between the two of us. But yeah, definitely was involved with the all 3 sort of types of training right from the beginning when we started dating. And then we had our first child sort of 17 years ago, and it was a case of I couldn't be at the gym for 3 or 4 hours a night. So I would give myself the time of, let's say, an hour's training, and I decided then, for no reason other than to pick one, I went with fitness. So that's the reason that I've stuck with it. Yeah. That's absolutely, the jits is absolutely amazing and so important for women because I think you underestimate the weight difference of being against a guy, never mind size and strength. And so I think it's important for women to get used to being against someone who is big and strong and yeah.
Okay, how many ladies do you guys have at the gym currently that is doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
I would say probably 8 to 10. It varies every night. Sometimes we obviously have boxing classes, and sometimes the jits. Fitness is more sort of geared towards women anyway. But I'd say with the jits, there's probably 10 strong.
And then quite a few girls in the kids class, which is nice.
And what's the general feeling? And I'm asking this as a layman and as an outsider, not ever done this, but what is the general feeling of ladies going to these kind of self-defense martial arts classes. You mentioned the importance of it, and I think it's very important to learn those skills.
Sure.
But maybe for someone out there to make them feel comfortable, because maybe they might have this stigma or this feeling that it might be a little bit too rough for them, a little bit, I don't want to, for lack of a better word, calling it a bit butch.
Sure.
What maybe can you just tell them how it is actually there?
I want to answer this.
You want to,
Yeah, no, it's just only because I generally deal with people who are coming for the first time, wanting to get info, and there is a general sort of fear from a woman's perspective because they arrive at this gym. It's a male-dominated sport, whether you like it or not, and their first sort of thing is, am I going to get hurt? Is a guy going to try and like prove he's better or bigger and stronger than me? And I think it's a testament to Rodney, to be honest, because his gym in particular has a really awesome chilled vibe. So the guys are not there to prove a point. They're not there to hurt you. Everyone actually just wants to help each other. So women who come in and they're a little bit nervous generally always leave feeling like, wow, that was a really good experience. I learned something. The guys were, really polite and they were gentle and they didn't get hurt, which I think is the most important thing. You don't want to feel terrified when you, walking in or leaving the gym.
Okay, that's nice.
I think for ladies, it's probably the hardest sport to get involved into, the jits, because it's so up close and personal with guys. You've got this sweaty guy that you don't know sitting on top of you, looking at you, and it's so up close and personal. If they go do a boxing class, ladies love to put on gloves and hit a boxing bag because they feel the immediate results about and the frustration released from it. But jits is very different. So it takes a lot of education to try and help them by that. Look, this is a rape situation. This is what you need to deal with. This is how you get out of it. So I do think they find it very intimidating. I do, like Jacqui said, the environment's so important. They can't walk into this environment that's unwelcoming and aggressive because they're going to walk out straight away.
Yeah, I can actually testify to that. So I remember telling Vanna the very first morning that we rolled, and there was obviously female, if I can call it students or female attendees there as well. Yeah. And having to roll against one of these women, it was obviously different because you used to like roll against another male and it was just funny once, or it was just strange once. Then after that was actually, you're there obviously to train and practice. And I think it's still different for a female, but from a male perspective doing it, I thought, well, only the first time was quite weird. And then from there, it sort of came naturally and we know why we're there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the ladies feel the same. After 2 or 3 times, they're like, okay, the guys are not here for whatever reason. They're here to train and make me better. But talking about ladies and jits, ladies make better jiu-jitsu practitioners than guys. Yeah. For the reason that the guys use power and strength in the beginning and they were trying to dominate the other person. Ladies don't have that. So they rely on their technique and their mindset. Yeah. So over time, they make such better BJJ practitioners.
Yeah. So you guys started Fight right? When did you start this, and how did you start Fight Right?
In 1999.
Sure.
July. So when we started Fight Right.
23 years going on this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
I coached in different schools before that, and I did some studying and different things after school, but the martial arts has always been my love and my passion. So I've done martial arts. It's just something I have to do. I don't actually have a choice. So then we started the gyms in 1999, and it's gone strong ever since.
Okay. So we've got a scenario, and I think I'm going to kick us off into why we're here today. Mm-hmm. We've got a scenario at a hospital where, let's say, you're a first-year intern or a medical officer, doesn't matter. You're on call, you come back the next morning, and there might be a life-threatening situation or a situation where you held gunpoint or just, someone trying to take your hand back. What is some of the practical stuff? I know it's in one episode we won't be able to cover everything, but what is some of the very important stuff that we can talk about today and maybe elaborate on that someone can apply in that situation?
I think this is the most common question I've gotten in all my martial arts life. What is the best thing to do in this situation? What can I do? What's the best technique against this person? One thing I think we have to realize is these not the ultimate technique against anybody. If there was even a gun, everyone would be doing or using that technique. So my conclusion over the years is the the best self-defense technique you can have is awareness. If you are aware of your environment and your surroundings, that is the number one key. Doesn't matter how good you are, you have the best. You can have the best techniques, the best whatever, but if someone comes behind you and attacks you and you don't know they were there, they're going to take you out.
Yeah.
But if you walk into a parking lot and you can start becoming aware of what's happening around you, you have a step forward that you can work on.
Okay.
And I think that's very important to mention. I think being aware can avoid a lot of those situations. But I think the unfortunate thing is a lot of the time, although a lot of these doctors might be aware of the situation and what's coming to them, they don't have an alternative option. I earlier this morning, I read a post on Instagram of one of my clients where she posted of a situation where she got to the hospital earlier this week and she was the only doctor on call. And there was a patient, a male patient that was a little bit aggressive. And she had to treat him. So immediately in those scenarios, they start feeling uncomfortable. Apart from being any physical engagement, what else can one do to avoid those kind of situations? And apart from being aware, is there like, I don't want to say weapons, but is there alternative stuff that they can carry with them to keep them a little bit more safe?
Definitely. So for ladies especially, they might not want to have a gun. Most ladies feel that a gun is just something that is so foreign to them they don't want to even look at it. So we normally recommend pepper spray. Because if you have 3 or 4 people coming at you, you can spray 3 or 4 people at once. But having said that, you don't want to give them a false sense of security, because if the wind is coming into their face and they spray and the pepper spray goes into their face, they're going to feel the effects of it. So you want people to not have a crutch on the weapon that they're carrying. Or, that day she might go to the hospital and she left her pepper spray at home. Now she's a nervous wreck because all her confidence relies on the pepper spray. So you don't want to rely just on weapons or one thing.
So Rod, if someone, let's say, joined the gym, they've started with some styles, and they've got a pepper spray and a weapon, what is some of the vitals that someone can attack if they are in a situation? So let's use Vanna's client as an example, where let's say that patient actually attacked the doctor. What could she have done in that situation? What vitals could she have attacked in order to save her life in that moment if it was life-threatening?
Yeah, so the best vitals is eyes,
Yeah.
throat, and groin.
Okay.
The streets.
Okay.
And, for ladies, we also teach them to take their car keys and wrap it and make a fist.
Okay.
And they can use that to dig into the eyes, the throat. The groin, although it's a good target, it's not easy to get to with guys because we're
Yeah.
very
Protective,
very,
yeah.
very protective of that. But
Okay.
you want to go for soft targets, even if they have a pen in their handbag, and they want to stab it into the throat or the eyes. Anything that's soft, that will work.
Yeah, that's actually. Is there anything else that you would recommend that women can actually carry in their handbags, or that even guys? Some guys can also wear on them apart from car keys and that sort of stuff.
A knife.
Okay.
So we've done a lot of comparisons between knife and gunfights. And, with the seminars that we do, we always ask the guys, what's more dangerous, a knife or a gun? And obviously, I would say 90% of the guys put up their hand and say a gun. But it's not the case. We've taken a piece of meat and we've wrapped it with 2 or 3 jerseys, and we've taken a 2 rand knife from a flea market, and we've just slashed it. And that knife goes right through the jerseys, right deep into the meat.
Sure.
So a knife is extremely dangerous. And if we had to give one of you guys, you've never done knife training before.
Yeah.
If I have to give you a practice knife and say, try and cut me, and I've done lots of knife training, in this room, you'll cut me up 500 times, I'll be dead. So it doesn't take a lot of skill to have a knife and to use it.
I get you.
Yeah, but having said that, if the attacker has a knife as well, be just aware
Just
that
as
it's just as dangerous. Yeah, get a barrier between you, maybe your shoe or a car, chair,
Yeah.
something.
Oh.
Your wife, whatever you can.
That's why you married him.
Hence why we train.
And hence why you just 2-time.
Yeah. No.
Rodney, what is the biggest mistake that ladies or men do when they are confronted in a life-threatening situation?
Panic. That's the biggest thing. And they panic because they're untrained. And any of us, if we were even if a trained guy was in a situation that they haven't trained in before, they're going to panic because they don't know what to do. They haven't dealt with it yet. And that's why I like the martial arts that have pressure testing, because you have this person coming at you with full force all the time, every day, and you deal with this pressure every day. And when that pressure comes out in the street and this person attacks you, you're so comfortable because you deal with the same pressure every day. It's nothing new. So the people that panic have never experienced this kind of pressure before.
Yeah. And I think I like what you also said, and I know with the BJJ as well. When you start out, it's uncomfortable when you're in a pressure situation. So when somebody choke you or when you're down and there's pressure on you, you're tired. Yeah. But you get comfortable in that uncomfortability, Absolutely. If there's a word like that.
It becomes home in a way.
100%. So I think that's also why that is important. But it's like you said, if there's a situation that I'm not used to, I'm going to panic. Because initially, I think our DNA or our reaction is to always try and like fight or flight, So I totally agree to what you're saying there. Rod, then just I'm back on like stuff that you can use. How can you? And you said something that's very important, like maybe push obstacles in front of somebody. Do you have other methods that you can make it difficult for someone in a situation? Like let's say there's a conflict situation or something that's going wrong. Do you have other stuff that you would recommend to make it really difficult for somebody to rob you, as an example, or to hurt you? Is there other stuff that you would recommend?
I think to make it really difficult is you got to fight back. Because most people are not expecting you to fight back. Most people are expecting you to lie like a Labrador on your back and give up and say, take what you want.
Yeah.
But obviously you got to realize what the situation you're in is. It very life-threatening that they've got a gun to your head. You got to know how bad the situation is. Because if there's 3 people and there's a gun to your head, you don't want to fight back. You got to rather, let your ego go to the side and just try and play the part out as best as possible.
Yeah.
If you come up and you attack Jacqui and she starts fighting back and you don't expect that's plus side from her side. So that kind of take her by surprise.
Yeah, you see the videos where like there's a situation where somebody starts fighting back, where the attackers didn't think this person is going to fight back and they actually start running away. So you see that.
I think it also adds up to what you said earlier. It's about being comfortable in those kind of situations, going through training. Because I think you can read as many books as you want, you can listen to these kind of podcasts, but if you're not confronted in those kind of situations, you will always basically be automatically going into a flight mode. Because I think that's just how our brains work. You're going to protect yourself. So unless you are confronted in those situations and you're comfortable in it, that's when that instinct will basically kick in. Yeah. It makes me think about, I think it's last year, it might have been the year before, where we had that cash and transit robbery of that guy who was driving the vehicle, where he was so well trained and everybody was joking how calm he was while the guys were shooting on him. Yes. And actually after the fact he said, but he's been doing that every single day. So he's so used to being under that pressure. Yeah. So it's almost like instinct kicking in, where his body takes over because he's been doing it so many times. It's like his body's actually just taking it over. Yeah. And I think that's where training comes in.
Absolutely.
We have to go, and like you said, where there's ladies going to the gym and are sitting, doing jiu-jitsu, where a sweaty guy is sitting on top of them. So they are feeling that kind of pressure. They're feeling that masculinity, that strength. Yeah. So when something happens, it's not all of a sudden overwhelming and overpowering, and you think, okay, this is a male attacking me, as an example. So I think it's very, very important.
Definitely. We do an awareness exercise. So we normally ask the guys, like in this room, for instance, if you look around and you see everything that's grey, so everyone will look around and say, okay, I can see everything is grey. So if I ask you guys to just close your eyes for a second and then point to something that's blue.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a simple awareness exercise, and that's just the first thing of trying to get people to wake up and be aware, because we sometimes become so focused maybe after work on just one thing, on what was on your mind from work, and you just got one lens in your brain. So trying to open up your vision a little bit. So that's maybe a good example of an awareness
really
exercise.
I'm looking at my iPad, my screen is blue, and when you asked me that, I couldn't think of something.
I just saw the car behind you.
I felt very stupid now, because literally my screen is blue and I couldn't point at it.
Okay, well that's it. That's all the questions. Okay. Thank you so much for availing yourselves today. I really appreciate it. How can somebody get in contact with you guys?
Probably our website's the easiest, fightrights.co.za,
Okay.
and all the information's there.
And I know for somebody that wants to try it out, you do have a trial version where they can come for a week, come and test it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And what would that entail then?
Then they can try any of our classes. We have got CrossFit classes, there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes, there's boxing, there's mixed martial arts. They can see what they enjoy the most.
Okay.
And obviously for kids as well.
Yeah.
Why not start them young?
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
And it's a great, as a family, it's a wonderful sport to get involved in.
Yeah.
Both our kids do it, and it's so nice to share that common sort of interest. So, it's, definitely bring the kids along.
If this is the very first time that you've watched one of these episodes, I want you to go to the bottom of this page, hit the like button, comment if there's stuff that you want us to talk about. And I also want you to go check out some of the resources that we shared outside of financial advice. We do have some stuff that is based on life experiences, that's based on life value that you can add. So I want you to check out our website on www.moneyandmedicine.co.za. And until next time, plan the plan.